Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, prideofdetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And honestly, like, I don't even know what to say at this point, man. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, I'll crack them. Crack them if you got them. It's not alcoholic for me. I don't even think it is for my guy, Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online. Oh, it is alcoholic. Great. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, I got 3 with me for this one. I have it lined up in Pennicini formation here. I'm gonna have a good old podcast. Let's go.
My God. Wow. R-rated. Hide your children already. I did crack a Coke. Maybe I might go and add some rum to it at the break. That's possible. We are here recapping the first. All right. I'm Chris Perfett, the adequate host at Chris Perfett, Perfett. I introduced Jeremy, the fearless leader. Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD has yet to crack anything. Except maybe
I don't want to crack anything. I've cracked enough things in 2020. Yeah, I'm good.
that is a valid point. Yes, that is a valid point. Let's not Ryan. No more cracks for you. No more crack for Ryan. Let's see here.
Crack is indeed wet, kids.
Yeah, I don't know where to start, guys. Well, I do know where to start, and it's with this awful game. It's just there's the answer is no. And the answer is no, and I mean no as in the Lions got shut out for the first time since, let me make sure I have this date right, week 6 of 2009 when the Packers beat them 26-0, and the Carolina Panthers have beaten the Detroit Lions 20-0. Now this is even different too, because that game in 2009, that was Dante Culpepper under center for the Detroit Lions. This is the first shutout of Matthew Stafford's career. So we're going to add that
Mazel
onto the
tov.
bonfire. Mazel tov. Yeah, we're going to add that onto the bonfire with everything else that's just happening today, which is, I don't want to call this the nadir of the Matt Patricia era, because I think we thought that was, as per a few mailbags ago, the Jets game to start his career in Detroit. But also, there's still quite a little bit of football left to be played, and I don't know how much lower this thing is going to go. But being blanked by the Carolina Panthers, who, let's take stock of this. Coming into this game, were the worst third down defense, in the NFL. By far. They couldn't stop anyone on third down. The Lions spent all day punting. All right? Like, that's where we're at here. The Lions were punting, fumbling, didn't get anywhere close to the end zone. The only thing close to a score was a Matt Prater leftward shank. That was it. That's all that happened here. You had no Christian McCaffrey, so their super weapon is gone. And who was starting under center for them again? Oh, yeah, P.J. Walker. You might not know the name P.J. Walker. That's because he's from the XFL. He spent a couple years kind of bumming around the league, went to the XFL, was their passing leader for the Houston Roughnecks, but you lost to an XFL quarterback. And like the second XFL. We're not even talking about the XFL where the guy nearly dies. I think we just lost Craig, so that's fantastic.
Our pets' heads are falling off, chat.
Hold on.
We lost our recorder. Oh, he's back.
Recording.
Yeah, great. So I need to figure out how to parse that together. Craig, our recording bot, left when I said the words XFL.
He had enough.
That's apparently a kill code. All right. It's back now. I think we took the kill code out. Ryan, God, man. I guess the only question I have is how?
Well, the Lions made it really hard on me today because they decided to name PJ Walker as their starter. So then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm totally in. I want PJ Walker to succeed. But it was one of those things where, you're so thirsty, but then if you were to fall in the ocean and you start drowning, it's like, no, it's too much. And 20-0, man, is this, I think, will be this is the statement game for the Matt Patricia era. Like, I'm going to remember this game more succinctly, more, I guess less fondly than I will even like the Jets game to start the Matt Patricia era, because I always thought that was like the Matt Patricia game.
Yeah,
and
it feels like
now
Go
it
ahead.
seems like that this Panthers game might supersede that level of bad.
It's Caldwell's Bengals game, right? Like it's the one that we're gonna think about. That was like, oh, well that's it. Like that we're done here. And I honestly I thought that was 2 weeks ago in Minnesota. You know, coming off a blowout from the Colts, you get blown out by Minnesota and don't even compete. I thought maybe that was it, but this is it. When you get shut out for the first time in a decade, when you rack up 185 yards of offense total, which is the worst since 2010 as well. And in that game, they had 3 turnovers. In this one, they only had 1. So it was just the offense was stinking it up all game. Barely even had any opportunity to score any points. We'll get more into the offense in a minute. But yeah, I do feel this is the Matt Patricia statement game, and I don't think it was a statement he was trying to make.
This is like the reverse Rubicon. I mean, it's Rubicon in that it's crossed and you can't really go back. And I think the writing is now on the wall that no matter what happens for the rest of the season, Patricia's days are numbered. Whatever hope you had left for this coaching staff, it's got to be gone. And as we're going to get into later in the show, the only question left is when. When? It will take a miracle hitherto unseen in the NFL to save the jobs of the Boston boys. But we should start on takeaways for this game itself before we rush into the breach, once more into the breach, dear friends, about another coach being on their way out of Detroit. So you want to do takeaways on this game? I kind of don't, but I feel like we are compelled to do so.
Sure. Yeah, I'll kick things off. Not to make a pun out of what you just said, Chris, but we're not in a rush to do these things. Well, apparently the Lions weren't in a rush to do anything good on the ground today. And my big takeaway from this game is, without DeAndre Swift, is this offense that bad? I mean, I know they were missing Kenny Golladay too, but they've missed Kenny Golladay for the past couple of weeks, and they had a big game out of DeAndre. Yeah, but I truly think, I mean, compare this game to the game a week ago, I don't think that the Panthers are that much better of a team than the Washington football team. And to add to the fact, like you already mentioned, Chris, they were without their top offensive weapon in Christian McCaffrey. They were without their starting quarterback in Teddy Two Gloves. What about this game all of a sudden just caused the Lions to completely fall on their asses? And it seems like without DeAndre Swift, without him as an X factor, both in the receiving game as and a runner, this offense was nothing. It was terrible. This was one of Matthew Stafford's worst performances that I can remember. And you have Adrian Peterson with 7 carries for 18 yards. They keep on trying to run outside zone with him. You have Kerryon Johnson, 6 carries for 17 yards, and Matthew Stafford, 4 carries for 5 yards. 17 carries for 40 yards, a long of 8 today. 8 yards.
So what was it
of Kerryon Johnson?
What was their yards per carry if you take out their longest run?
Oh God! Stop it. Well, it won't matter much because the longest run from Kerryon Johnson was only 8 yards.
That's what I'm saying. That's the joke, Chris. Anyway.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's no average long yards.
Everything.
The joke is the Detroit Lions run game.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like last week, it felt like they turned a corner, right? Offensively, they hung up 30 on a good Washington defense. They come into this week, play a much worse team defensively speaking, in the Panthers. And I put it this way on Twitter, and I feel like maybe this is actually what happened. Is the Lions probably went into this week? They're like, okay, so this DeAndre Swift stuff is working. Let's continue. Let's roll with this. Let's continue this momentum with Swift. Obviously, things are working here. Let's see if Carolina can stop us. Then on Thursday, the concussion happens. They're like, oh, crap. Yeah. DeAndre Swift probably isn't going to play in this game. What do we do? And Darrell Bevell turns to Matt Patricia and be like, well, I already printed out the play sheet. What are we supposed to do? And Matt Patricia goes, you know what? Adrian Peterson's the same player. Let's try it.
Bleep it.
Let's, we don't want to waste paper, our shredder's on the fritz. Let's save some ink. Let's just put Adrian Peterson there and see what happens. He takes, 5 of the first 8 plays are designed to go to Adrian Peterson. Of course, they basically go 3 and out 2 times, and the rest is history. Like, It was lost. I feel like this game was lost offensively before the game even started. And yes, there were a lot of drops. And yes, Matthew Stafford didn't play his best game. I don't even think he played particularly bad, but to me, this game plan was doomed from the absolute minute they took the field, and that became apparent very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, I agree that it feels like they just kind of figured that DeAndre Swift was a completely replaceable part. That you just game plan for the same thing as you did with the DeAndre Swift. And in the words of Fire Festival organizers, let's just do it and be legends, man. That kind of stuff happened out here. And hey, guess what? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in the NFL. You can't run your offense that way. And look, I don't know how bad the Stafford injury is. I don't think it affected him really that much. But even out there, like, if you want to talk, I know, Jeremy, you want to talk about offense as well for your takeaway. And maybe this is your jumping off point here, but like the play calling was atrocious too. Like, I mean, we've talked about it before, but like, I don't even know where to go with what the hell was going on with the play calling.
Yeah. It's so tough because you look at the team and they're just built. They're so dead set on these long, drawn out drives. They're running on early downs and getting themselves into okay positions in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. Like, that's not a horrible position to be in, but it also kind of removes your margin for error. If you have to convert on all these 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 6s, then you can't make a mistake on 3rd or 4th and 5th down or 3rd and 4, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, whatever. And they did. Like, they were horrible on 3rd down today. You mentioned it at the top. This is the worst 3rd down defense they're going up against, and the Lions completely crapped the bed on 3rd down. And it goes to it goes to what's really bothered me all season, right? This offense is so passive, so conservative, so interested in getting 4 yards at a time instead of getting chunk plays. And I know defenses are probably, and if you ask Darrell Bevell tomorrow, he'll probably tell you, well, the Colts were playing too high. They had too high safeties. They were taking everything deep away, so we had to try to take everything underneath. Sorry, you're the offense. You get to dictate things. You got Matthew Stafford on your team. He's still got a laser arm. You get to dictate what the defense needs to do. That doesn't mean run the ball 20 times with Adrian Peterson in the first quarter so that they bring a safety down. Adrian Peterson ain't scaring anybody. He's not bringing a safety down into the box. That's not how this works. And if you don't know that by week 11, there's the door, my friend, over there. And you're right. Play calling horrible. 1st and 2nd down, way too conservative. They're just so happy with getting 4 yards on 1st down, 3 yards on 2nd down, and then making a mistake on 3rd down and punting the ball away. And early in this game, too, they punted 3 times consecutively from Panthers territory on a 4th and 5, on a 4th and 6, and then on a 4th and 3. And yes, the offense was terrible, and I don't have any faith that they would have picked up any of those first downs, but you got to try. When your offense is flailing and the best they can do is get to the 50-yard line, you take that opportunity and be like, okay, we got something going here. Can we at least try? Keep trying? No, let's punt the ball, play the field position game, rely on that great defense of ours to get the ball back and maybe get the ball back at the 40-yard line. Yeah, great.
Well,
that strategy worked.
It's funny you should mention great defense. I'll get to that, but you said something about 2nd and 1st down, which we've harped on constantly this year. But the 3rd down play calling was just as bad because you get in these 3rd and 6 situations and like, okay, yeah, I get it. You don't have a lot of options. You probably got to pass there. But is a screen pass behind the line of scrimmage really your best option? Is a pitch out to Kerryon Johnson your best option when you're dealing with Brian Burns flying off the edge? I don't think it is. I don't think you thought this through. I don't think you've identified the weak point in this Panthers defense. It feels like you're being stubborn and just slamming right at the hardest part of the wall rather than try to find a weak point.
Once again, it's like the Vikings game. It was a young, undisciplined Panthers secondary, and they didn't get tested all game.
No, they didn't. They didn't throw it. They barely threw into the secondary. Barely.
Well, now when they did throw into the secondary, and I just had to think of Jeremy immediately when it happened. That touchdown that got wiped away on a flea flicker.
It's not a flea flicker. Not a flea flicker.
What was it? It was like an end around, or I don't even know.
It was an end around thrown back to the quarterback, then a throw. That's not a flea flicker.
Oh,
By my
okay.
definition.
He's being really obstinate here, Ryan. just let him have this. He doesn't have much else.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, I mean,
But still, that got blown up because of an illegal formation.
hooray.
Wide receiver can't cover the tight end, man. Marvin Jones should know better.
Oh my, jeez. All right. Well, I mentioned the defense, and I know we've been harping on it for weeks. And I know, Jeremy, when we were doing our notes, you were asking me, what even is there left to say? I think we said in the postgame, what is there left to say about the defense right now? Because it feels like everything that's been written about it, but I have to impress upon this again. I know that I poo-pooed Alex Smith last week a little bit for 400 yards because a lot of those were yak. You saw that same kind of yak problem out of PJ Walker. And Alex Smith, at least, is an NFL veteran. And again, I'm not going to take it away from PJ Walker. Why? Because PJ Walker was a yards leader in the XFL. I think like you do see these guys in the past have come out of lower leagues and succeeded. I don't know what future PJ Walker has in the NFL. I know he's starting behind Teddy Bridgewater, which would say enough about him right there, but the same problems. And it just feels, Jeremy, Ryan, that it's getting worse each week with the assignments on defense or the scheme or the coverage on defense. I am seeing guys going out there. I think Craig is yelling at me again.
Still here.
He's still here. Okay. We'll check it later.
Oh, there he goes. Our recorder doesn't want to sit through this. If only we would have been afforded the same opportunity to watch
Lions.
Lions.
It's not even joining now.
Sorry, chat.
Hold on.
Craig is relatable. Yeah. By the way, I'll use this moment to catch up to some alerts. We had a bunch of follows.
Now recording.
Drew Crew, Ledger, T. Lekowski, Court Major.
So many files now.
Thank you for the follows. Appreciate you guys. Also, Movember. We're giving away, or we're trying to raise money for men's health, men's mental health as well. If we hit any of those goals, and I just realized that this is the old image, but at $1,000, which is what we're at 305. Ryan and I will shave into a porno mustache. Anyways,
okay. Sorry. Okay, it's back up. What was I saying again? I was talking about
defensive back assignments and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I can't deal with it when I'm looking at guys sitting out there in no man's land, not sure what to do. You know, it's just not like you have guys who should be either dropping back into coverage or getting into the backfield, and they're just not doing either of them. They're just sitting there. Like what's the plan? What's the play? And that to me is the most damning indictment you can make on any level of coaching out here. When you've got guys they're just sitting there on their hands, waiting for something, guys who are getting turned around. I don't get it, man. I really don't. I feel like I'm breaking the record on it, but it's completely figured out now. Whatever Patricia's scheme is, whatever master plan that Ricky Jean-Francois or whoever says you need to take time to learn the system, it's not working.
I mean, you spent this offseason specifically getting people on defense that know the system. You got Danny Shelton. You got Jamie Collins. You got, I don't know, who else? I mean, they've spent years and years trying to draft guys. It's not working with any of the guys they've drafted. So they bring in guys that are familiar, and that's not working either. Here's my mindset of where I am with this defense. When they announced PJ Walker was starting in this game on Sunday morning, my feelings for the game did not change a single bit. Didn't consider repicking the Lions, didn't consider changing my score prediction, didn't consider any of that because I knew the Lions weren't going to be able to stop PJ Walker. The only reason this game was even close at all was PJ Walker made a couple of really bad mistakes in the red zone. They should have hung 30 on this team. And Maybe the defense played okay early in the game, maybe a little bit better than we've seen in the past. And yes, the run defense still continues to be at least okay. But this pass defense is brutal. Absolutely brutal. And Jeff Okudah is not getting better. I'm starting to, be a little impatient with that. Certainly not going to call him a bust, but you have to wonder at this point when he's getting worse, when Tracy Walker's getting worse, when Deshaun Hand's getting worse, when Jared Davis didn't progress, when Jelani Tavai isn't progressing. Maybe it's not just the players at this point. Maybe there's an issue with coaching.
Okay. I guess I'm almost 100% on coaching, but I say there's still about 10% I want to put on players, because at the end of the day, like, maybe I'm just that mad when I look at Nick Williams out there and the Lions get drawn offside twice near the end of the game, knowing exactly what's going to happen. And oh my God, man. I don't get it. I just don't. This is your specialty. This is your bread and butter. How is a defense this bad? How? Sorry, I thought I had a more sussed out point here, but it's frustration at this point. It really is. You've gone from a year prior to, talking about this backfield being one of the best, being one of the top tier in the league, to, hey, it's Darius Slay. Okay, fine, we can try to survive around him, and it's crap. It's crazy. So you are smiling now.
We're getting gifted subs in the chat from our good friend Joshua Mercer.
Oh, okay.
I think
That's why you
25.
Are. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm almost out of steam because of these mistakes, because of these start and stops from Craig. We are going to have to take a break here just so I can download the old files and try to make sure I've got everything to chop up. So we're going to take a break here. When we come back on the other side, more about this game, and I think the question of when is going to start coming up here. So stick with us if you're listening on the podcast. We apologize for technical difficulties, but our motto at Pride of Detroit is no redos. Never. Probably could benefit us sometimes, but no redos. We're spending just enough time that you would spend on this game. Trust me. We'll be right back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Okay, I don't know what the fuck was happening with Craig, so...
Joshua, big thanks again for the 20 gifted, because the Lions successfully did something on defense in this game, believe it or not. He had bet that Mike Davis would go over 100 total yards in this game, or he would give 20 gifted subs. And you know what? The Lions did a great job. 19 carries, 64 yards, only 2 catches for 15 yards. Bottled him up.
Impressive.
That is the one thing I said was in the Lions' favor in this game. I thought they'd be able to stop the run, and they did. And again, that goes to show you that stopping the run is not that important. Excuse me.
Stop the run without Christian McCaffrey on the field. Congratulations.
Hey, Mike Davis was having a good season.
I'll be right back.
4.2 yards per carry on the season. Only had 3.4 today.
Neat.
Lions are great defensively.
Neat.
Stopping the run. Yeah, Tua. You guys want to talk about Tua for a second? Tua, who got benched today.
So I'm not quite as... Wow, Denver actually won. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing we can if you guys want to talk draft position, and I think maybe we should touch it at least a little bit. Look at the teams that won today. Dallas won today.
Dallas won.
The Chargers won today. Denver won today.
Oh yeah, Chargers were playing. Yeah, okay.
Those are 3 teams with 2 or fewer wins that I think won today.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm watching.
Washington.
I'm trying to watch the end of this Indy Green Bay game too. So yeah, Washington. Did Washington win today, Jeremy?
Yeah, they beat the Bengals and Joe Burrow.
Okay. Yeah, God, that's the bullet for the season
sucks.
right there. It's because that's the one thing you don't want to happen for your young, amazing, stellar quarterback is that kind of crap. And We all knew how bad the O-line was for Bengals. Even if he's not badly hurt, you're not going to see him for the rest of the season. Just shut it down. You're running this risk. Burrow.
Oh, he tore his ACL.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he's done. Whoops. Yeah, he's.
That's why we can't have nice things.
Right.
Why is it always an ACL?
Good question. Why can't I find the updated? Hold on 1 second, chat.
Rodgers looks frustrated.
Good.
I apologize a little bit for the rambling. I feel like I've got something stuck in my nose again and just itching.
There we go. That's what I want. Okay, there we go. Now the Movember thing is updated.
How the TF did we not score a single point from Chaos Cam 7? Very carefully. We also didn't have a drive longer than, I believe, 6 plays in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, my argument is just...
Jeremy, you muted yourself.
I muted myself? Oh, yeah, I did mute myself to you guys. Chat could hear me still. But yeah, I think the Lions thought going forward after last week, oh my gosh, wide open receiver. He caught it. Oh my God.
Don't tell me I'm a play behind.
Anyways, the Lions last week, they're like, oh, we got the run game going. We can maybe get the running backs more involved in the passing game. Let's just do that again this week, and not realizing that maybe DeAndre Swift had a little bit to do with the success of that game plan last week.
You drafted him, man. Like, you draft him. You should know what he can do and like how specialized that is.
I do, but I do also think their best third down weapons were not in this game. I think we've seen Matthew Stafford kind of really linger to Danny Amendola in a lot of situations as it's checked down on third down, and Amendola's done an okay job getting open. DeAndre Swift was a guy that does that a lot, and then throw it up to Kenny Golladay turned out to be a pretty good strategy, a month ago against, who was that? I always keep forgetting when he had this big game. Jaguars? Falcons.
Both games. Yeah, big games, yeah.
And so without those security blankets, either throwing it up to Kenny Golladay, dropping it off to Danny Amendola as your third option, or throwing it to Swift on third down, Lions were just out of answers, and you're like, well, why can't we make TJ Hawkinson be the centerpiece? Great question. I don't have an answer for that. Why can't they at least throw a couple balls to Marvin Jones down deep because he's such a good contested catch receiver? Great question. I don't have an answer for that.
Well,
why can't they get Marvin
Jones a few times? But it's just
a few times.
But I mean, he had 6 targets versus Hawkinson 7, so he was involved. But like you were about to say, Hall and Quintez Cephas, they weren't getting those guys involved at all.
No, but 6 targets isn't enough.
Yeah,
in a game when you were throwing the entire second half.
Yeah, you only had 32 targets on the day, so I mean,
I guess it's just, I don't know. It's really
here's your targets leader. Hawkinson with 7, Marvin Jones with 6. Kerryon Johnson with 5, Hall with 3, Agnew with 6, Cephas with 2, Jesse James with 2, Adrian Peterson with 1. Didn't catch it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about Quintez Cephas. I see a couple people asking about him in the chat. I mean, maybe not as good as we thought he was. Maybe Stafford just doesn't have trust in him yet. I don't know, but yeah, I think we all looked at this wide receiving core and we said, you know what, that's actually pretty deep. They've been playing pretty well, and maybe not as deep as we thought it was. Maybe, and I said this.
Sucks.
I said this in our post game show. Maybe all of the time that the media, myself included, were fawning over Jamal Agnew looking a lot better as a slot receiver in training camp. Maybe that had more to do with the cornerbacks he was lined up against than him himself. Maybe it had to do with the fact that the Lions secondary is doo-doo and have made a lot of so-so receivers look pretty good this season.
If I can say, like, I feel like the one hallmark that's going to remain of the Patricia years in this particular regard between him and the Detroit media is going to be that I think a lot of people got too in the weeds about what they were doing. I think it's very gauche these days to talk about, trusting the process and believing in the systems that are being preached and seeing the upside in all the developments. And I think maybe we just wins and losses. at the end of the day. Like, it's not analytical, but I feel like a lot of our analysis has failed us to indicate that these forecasts are just not going to pan out sometimes.
Yeah. And in chat, what happened with Agnew while I was not looking? Seems like everyone is hating him today for some reason. I'm not hating on Agnew. It's just I feel like a lot of people thought moving from Danny Amendola to Jamal Agnew in the slot would be seamless. It'd be like, you know what? Amendola hasn't been playing that well this season. Jamal Agnew's probably faster, more agile than him. He should be fine. But Agnew has been a complete non-factor offensively this entire season. 3 catches for 10 yards today. In this entire season, before this game, he had 6 catches for 38 yards. He's just a non-factor. He's not. I think the overall point with Agnew is we hyped him up a little bit this offseason. We thought maybe he could grow into a slot receiver. Everyone was saying how good he looked in training camp, including his players, including his coaches, and that hasn't amassed to anything. He hasn't been a factor offensively. 3 rushes for 15 yards before this game. Nothing. Like at this point, you have to wonder: is Jamal Agnew worth a roster spot? This is kind of the debate we had before the season. Is a pure punt returner worth a roster spot? And the reason we said, you know what, he probably is because you know what, he actually looks good as an offensive player. They're making this transition. Where has it been? What has it got in the Lions?
Yeah. I think there is a question about how much we could have probably missed preseason to suss out some of these problems too. So,
sure.
Daniel Dixon 7, he says Trufant had his eyes on the Panthers quarterback and not focus on the wide receivers on that one play. Truman's got to be better. Yeah, he's one of those guys who I was saying is just getting out there and just sitting there lost. Like, Trufant was not good on today. I feel like the only guy who really had bright flashes on the defense was probably Oruwariye.
Yeah, at times. The interception he got was kind of thrown right at him, but he still was in the right spot.
He made some other. I think he deflected a pass, and he had some decent tackles on the day. But yeah, I'm just basically poking at short straws here to try to find anything.
All right, we should probably be talking about a lot of this sort of stuff. In the actual podcast.
I can take some of the stuff and lift it in there. I don't know, but
you okay over there, Ryan?
Yeah, chat's been asking about Ryan.
What do you want? I don't know what you want.
He's just here so you don't
hear from you, buddy.
The Lions suck. They play again in 4 days. They're not firing Matt Patricia.
Yet. Very soon, though. I believe very soon. Not to spoil segment 3, but
yeah.
What do you want to talk segment 2?
Let's talk some individuals. We didn't really talk a ton of individual play in the opening.
Yeah, segment. I'm not going to format it as Penthouse Doghouse because I don't think anyone goes to the Penthouse. But
no. I mean, we can try Doghouse Outhouse.
How about this? Because I just remembered a play I really want to talk about. What about most shocking performances of the day from guys we thought were kind of like mainstays?
I don't know if anything in particular shocked me today. Because...
I'm the thing that kind of threw me off was Frank Ragnow completely botching the snap.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not used to seeing that out of Frank Ragnow ever.
Yeah. It's one play, but yeah, you're right.
It's one play, but still, like, there's a few others. But okay, well, you know what? Let's just do some individual performances then.
Yeah. Uncle Indigo likes the Doghouse Outhouse.
Yeah. Let me get up a stopwatch. They're going to overtime this crappy game now, too. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Welcome back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast, sussing out gremlins and just problems all throughout here. And look, it's bad, man. I don't know what else to say. We're not going to play Penthouse Doghouse. Twitch chat is suggesting that we do Doghouse Outhouse, which seems a little mean, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I don't know. Let's just talk about individual performances. I'm going to make this a little more open than we usually do for Penthouse Doghouse. So, by all means, Jeremy, you want to take it away? I think you had some individuals you wanted to talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably beating a dead horse by this point, but I'm continually amazed by how disappointing the secondary has been. Jeff Okudah had another rough day today, got beat on the big 51-yarder to DJ Moore. Mani Oruwari did get a pick. I think he also had another pass breakup, so he's okay. But I feel like there's a lot of hype around Amani Oruwari, and I say this I feel like every week, but I feel like we're kind of celebrating just okay play because everyone else is so bad. I mean, yeah. I can't get my head around how bad Tracy Walker has looked. Like, they had that reverse or end around play. He's literally running in the wrong direction, does not see where the ball is going. The Lions cannot be giving up big plays to the Panthers. I'm sorry. And I want to give respect to that receiving core. It's good. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, those are guys that are talented guys. But with not a rookie, but a quarterback in his first start and a beat-up Panthers offensive line, there was just nothing. I mean, this was a perfect situation for them to have a bounce-back game, right? It was the first. Again, I know they get 2 interceptions. It doesn't feel like those were necessarily earned. Trufant got an interception. He was also way out of place on one of the touchdowns today, and I don't know. It's demoralizing how bad they continue to be, and I don't know how it gets better. You got a secondary coach as your defensive coordinator. Matt Patricia is a guy who knows a lot about secondary play. Why is everyone playing so bad and looking, like you said in the first segment, looking like they don't even know what's going on, looking like they're running in the wrong directions?
They've got no instruction going out there. Just roll out the ball and go play.
Yeah, it's weird and frustrating, and it's not improving, and makes me wonder, like, do we need a draft all over again in the secondary? Do we need to spend another 3rd-round pick on a safety, another 1st-round pick on a corner? Like, what's going on here? Where's the optimism for the future?
I feel like that's one place where that at least I feel like coaching is the most deficient right now, is the fact that these guys just look completely lost out there. And I feel like, yeah, they would be making some mistakes, but at least if they weren't being put in these no man lands and asked to cover a Bermuda Triangle, maybe they would, be a little more comfortable out there. It just seems like they're constantly adjusting for some kind of unseen script they have to memorize. I don't get it. Sorry, Ryan. Go. You take over here.
I was just saying it certainly wasn't in Carolina, because that play from Jeffrey Okudah was so bad. And I'm talking about the deep pass that he gave up to, I'm pretty sure it was DJ Moore, right? Where Okudah completely either whiffed or didn't really try to press him at the line and fight him at all. And then it was just a clean release and DJ Moore was gone. Like, there was no chance that Okudah was going to catch him. And it's pretty clear that the Lions drafted Okudah because he fit the skill set that Patricia likes from his cornerbacks. He likes big guys who can tackle, who can play man press coverage. Why can't Okudah do that? He did it at Ohio State. Why can't he do it in the NFL? And I don't think it's his athleticism. I mean, some of it's on him, but I don't think that it's primarily on him. I think that the coaching staff has just been an abject failure. And we just can't beat around the bush anymore. And the reason why I'm just so dejected and full of despair is because this coaching staff, this front office, has completely set the franchise back at least a few years. And we're looking at a rebuild that's going to take a minimum of 3 years.
Yeah. As we talked about in past weeks, like, the problem is that they keep either whiffing on a draft or picking up this talent that they seem to then not develop from the draft, which forces them to abandon those projects, to go to free agency, try to cover those problems. And then because they're covering so much problems in free agency, they're boarding up those problems that they don't have the money to keep some of those free agents, or they just it's not a high priority for them. Like Kenny Galladay's going to walk. I don't know what else to say. Like, sucks. Ryan, did you have a player from this game you wanted to hone in on, or?
Yeah, TJ Hawkinson was bad.
Yeah.
He was real bad. I know he was the receiving leader for the team, I think, with 4 catches for 68 yards. But he had a bad drop.
He can't be your number one.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know if any team in their right mind would build their offense around TJ Hawkinson, but at the same time, you can't draft players in the top 10 and not have them be somebody who can step up in a pinch. Like if, for instance, I mean, the Chiefs are about to play, but if the Chiefs' other offensive skill players like, Tyreek Hill or Sammy Watkins or, any of their other players that aren't Travis Kelce aren't clicking, Patty Mahomes can go to Travis Kelce and Travis Kelce can help carry and sustain drives. TJ Hawkinson can't do that. TJ Hawkinson whiffed, and the awareness on that block was just so pitiful. And I thought it was odd that, the commentators really picked up on, well, Kerryon Johnson should have cut up field. TJ Hawkinson should have made a block.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that TJ Hawkinson is a bust, and I'm not trying to put that label on him. What I am trying to say is Bob Quinn has made some really, really bad draft picks, and it's unfortunate that TJ Hawkinson got drafted where he got drafted. But when you look at the other side of the Panthers, when you're on offense and you see Brian Burns and you see him just teeing off and getting sacks and getting pressures and beating up Matthew Stafford all day, and then you look at your own defense and you can't do that on a consistent basis, it's not a good look. Not a good look, Bob.
Yeah, I actually do think you could probably build an offense around TJ Hawkinson, and I keep waiting for it, especially with everyone out. All of your star players out. TJ Hawkinson should be your highlight, which is all. And today's game was actually all the more reason why you should do that, because he was so bad as a blocker today. He did have one bad drop. I'm willing to forgive that one because there was a lot of traffic in there, and probably was pretty hard to see that ball even coming in since it was very clearly almost knocked down. But I can't give any sort of excuses for how he blocked today. It was god awful, and he's really been inconsistent his entire career at that. We've seen good flashes of it before, but we've also seen a lot of big whiffs. And yes, that'll happen as a tight end. Sometimes you're going to go up against a defensive end. Sometimes you're going to get Khalil Mack as an assignment, and you're probably going to lose. But that one today, like you said, that pitch to Kerryon Johnson, that one sticks out as an absolute killer. He's going up against a corner in that instance. It's not a huge assignment. Yes, that corner's probably faster than him, but you got to make that block, and it killed a third down. It wasn't a horrible play call. I think that play succeeds 9 times out of 10 with just an average or even a below average block. That wasn't even a below average block. That was a whiff.
He just needed to get in his way.
Yeah.
If TJ Hawkinson got in that Panthers defender's way, that's a first down and more.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if this game was necessarily within. It was always within striking distance, but it never seemed like it was within reach for Detroit today.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah. So the Lions were still within striking distance at that point. Like, I mean, they can still turn that around, and just like at every other impasse in the game, it was some failure, some blunder that just led to a huge letdown.
Yeah, listen, it was 0-7 going into the half. Like, at any point, Detroit could have taken this game by the balls and done something with it.
They almost did on the play that wasn't a flea flicker.
Thank you.
Well, there was more than that too. It's just, and I don't have a specific player I want to even mention. Like, I'm kind of disappointed with some of Stafford's play, but again, some of that too is just this offense isn't using him well. Some of it is I am curious how much the thumb is bothering him, but we've seen him play through that before. How much do you think the thumb is an issue right now, Jeremy?
I don't think it's an issue at all. I really don't.
Okay.
Like, I saw the
Same.
way Stafford was throwing the ball. I think maybe there was one pass I was like, that's kind of weird. There was a screen pass to carry on very late in the game where it's just like that.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That didn't
was
come
one.
out right, or that looked weird. That was a really bad pass. But in terms of his accuracy, I don't think his accuracy was particularly bad. He threw that bomb on the trick play, let's call it, pretty perfectly. I mean, that was right where it needed to be, and it certainly had the fire we're used to seeing behind a Stafford pass. I think maybe you could make the argument that the coaching staff was like, let's just take it easy on him. Let's not throw it too deep. But if you consider their track record, you consider that Matthew Stafford hasn't been connecting on the long ball all season, that game plan didn't look all that different to me than it has in the past. Just maybe turned up to 11 in how bad it was instead of 7-8. Because for as bad as the offense was today, it's been a disappointment all season. And you can blame injuries this week, or you can blame drops or Stafford's injury or whatever you want. But it all, like, every bad thing about this offense through the first 10 weeks of the season all showed its worst self today. Too many runs on first and second down, too much Adrian Peterson over other quarterback or over running backs, too many short passes, too much just not. And the one thing I'm really interested about this game, and this goes back to Matthew Stafford, why is he dropping, like, why is he going to his second and third and fourth reads on every play? Is that him not having faith in a guy like Quintus Cephas or Marvin Hall or Marvin Jones? Is no one getting open? Are there bad play designs? Are people not running the right routes? Like, this is something
Is he just getting impatient with his reads? I don't know. Like,
but like, it just feels like every other passing play there, Stafford would look downfield for 1-2 seconds, look one way, look another way, and then like have to scramble. And that's how you get 5 sacks on the day. And I think we should talk a little bit about the offensive line in a second here, but something's not working in the passing game, and it's frustrating.
Well, look at the first half real quick. The first half, Matthew Stafford has 11 pass attempts. Adrian Peterson has 7 carries. What are we doing?
I think
what
part
are we
of it's just
doing?
he's not getting into rhythm with that kind of usage. Like, you're just not getting into rhythm as a quarterback. And if you're constantly having
you're just not using him. You're just not using Matthew Stafford. So why are you
he's cold?
Why are you paying him?
And when he's cold like that, and all of a sudden then you're telling him, okay, get out there, and suddenly like he's thrown off his read progression, and he's just getting to his, he's checking down too quickly, and then it just goes from there. And I don't know. We talked so many times before about we're just baffled about why this offense refuses to let Stafford throw down the field.
Yeah, I mean, if there should be a Stafford that's in an SUV somewhere complaining about dictatorships, it should be Matthew Stafford about Matt Patricia.
Out in front of a Target or
wherever he wants to do it.
Okay.
Because like seriously, like, who has done less with more than Matt Patricia? He came here because, and we talked about how it was one of the best situations that any head coach could get into.
Yeah, we talked about this all the time.
He had a franchise quarterback. He had a general manager who picked him out and who knew how to draft for him. He had everything. He had everything he needed.
A 9-7 team, baby.
Well, there was a lot of work to do.
That's a good point. I forgot about that. There's a lot of work.
That's very true. You can't build Rome in 4 years, 3 years, whatever. Real quick before we get out of here, Jeremy did say he wanted to mention the offensive line. Look, this is like the first game I can remember in a while where I just thought Taylor Decker did not have a great game. He did kind of get beat around there. I get it. Brian Burns is kind of rough to handle for that offensive line as well. You're missing Vaitai. And Frank Ragnow, very uncharacteristic botch snap from him. I think that's the first botch snap I can remember from Frank Ragnow. He's been unerringly steady as a center, and that just kind of threw me off. But it's a small drop in here, but still, like, kind of hard to get past that Stafford took 5 sacks and was uncomfortable most of the day.
Yeah, it was just, I think that might be one of the more demoralizing parts of this game, because a lot of us have already looked to 2021 and looked to the future and looked to what sort of assets this team has worth keeping around. And pretty much we all are all in agreement that there are 3 parts on this offensive line that are sticking. Taylor Decker's sticking around, Jonah Jackson's sticking around, and Frank Ragnow's sticking around. And those guys, they weren't great today. No. The Lions couldn't run the ball. As you mentioned, Taylor Decker gave up his first sack in this game, may have given up a second one, although I think that one may have been on Kerryon Johnson. There was just a miscommunication with them on a blitz. And then Frank Ragnow with the turnover. Like that one goes in Stafford's pocket, technically, but that's all on Frank Ragnow. And so when those guys are letting you down, you're the guys that you're like, these guys are our future. When those are the guys letting you down, this was a full-on disaster from start to finish.
Yeah, and look, like it doesn't help them too that 3 out of those 5 we're only talking about and not the full line. Like, and we've talked about this before. The line has to be a unit, and this coaching staff has not done a good job allowing them to gel as a unit. And now with Vaitai not a part of the plan, apparently, like it just makes it even harder. But it just was not a good day for them. It's going to happen every now and then. I'm not too worried about the offensive line, but it is something to keep an eye on as we kind of go through the future. But I think that's where we should stop and take a break because we want to talk about that future. We're going to talk about the immediate future, which is Thursday, Thanksgiving, against the Houston Texans. We're not going to have a first bite this week. We'll talk a little bit about that, I guess. But then I feel like, as I said at the start of the show, it's not a question of if, it is now when. And I think we are going to hone in on when Matt Patricia will be showed the door. And if he doesn't, I will be beyond shocked. I'll be beyond shocked.
God help us all.
God help us all. We will be right back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast. All right, Green Bay loses.
Green Bay did.
Jeremy, are we low in the mix? Like I thought I saw something that like someone said a while back that like me and Ryan were quiet.
They did say that. I turned you guys up after that. Hopefully it's
okay,
been
you did.
since.
Okay, yeah.
Here's a fun thing. I don't really know what team grades are generally, according to this person, but from all the team grades from the 14 teams that have played so far,
Jesus Christ.
what place do you think the Lions came in, Ryan?
I'm seeing it on the stream, so I'm cheating.
Yeah. I don't know what you just said. Your mic didn't work there, but
last.
You win.
What do I win?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Another segment that you have to do.
Oh, God.
Chat, how you guys doing? Are you guys doing okay? I need to check in you guys. Check in with you guys. The holidays are here.
Checking with the chat.
Want to make sure y'all feeling okay. Make sure you guys are stocked with beer. Ryan wins candy corn. Do you want some candy corn, Ryan? No? Okay.
I still have like cuts on my gums from trying to fit all that candy corn. Like it lasted for about a week now.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. You deserve it. For putting candy corn in your mouth.
You know what's trending right now?
What's that?
# game better with Butterfinger. Buy 2 Butterfinger bars and score exclusive Halo Infinite player emblems. You had me at buy 2 Butterfingers.
Halo's overrated.
You don't even play Halo.
Tell me I don't play Halo.
Did you get a PS5 yet?
No, I'm not getting a PS5. Also, you can't get a next gen gaming system unless you're a celebrity.
This is true.
I heard.
Well,
I
apparently,
heard
go to Burger King.
I heard actually that you can't get a vaccination unless you have a PS5. Like that's how they're ordering it. It's going healthcare workers, elderly, and then people with PlayStation 5s.
Above all of that, the global elite.
So was Caldwell
also all have PS5s.
Fallon asks, was Caldwell's tweet today directed at Patricia? I don't know.
That is a damn good question, man.
Is that Caldwell's Twitter?
I believe confirmed? It actually is. I mean, he's not verified, so you never know for sure, but he's followed by a bunch of Lions players.
Quandary Diggs quote tweeted. That's how we kind of learned about it.
His Twitter links to his website. He's followed by a bunch of people in the Lions media as well. So, not a bunch of people, but some people in the Lions media.
And last time he had tweeted was 4 days ago.
I don't know. I mean, do I really think Caldwell's the kind of person that would be petty and do that sort of stuff? Probably not. But it's just the timing of it was very funny. I saw that Orlovsky.
Some of the players thought so too. I'll just say that.
Yeah, he was definitely retweeted by a couple, let's say, former Lions, potentially disgruntled Lions. But yeah.
Plenty of people in. By the way, please don't be one of these people in his mentions begging him to return, though.
Yeah. I mean, we can bring this up. I know Ryan might want to talk about this. Dan Orlovsky quote tweeted Coach Caldwell and said, Lions should rehire Caldwell tomorrow. Don't be that person. Come on now.
Oh, God. I don't know what's worse today. It's hearing that about Dan Orlovsky or having to listen to Chris Spielman.
Let's flood the chat with Dan Orlovsky saying that Carson Wentz is a top 5 quarterback.
Jesus.
But yeah, Orlovsky says the Lions should rehire Coach Caldwell tonight.
Wow, how bold! How bold, Dan!
It's kind of a shame that he got way too big for his britches way too quickly, because he was great as just a guy who broke down film and said like, hey, look at this. This is neat. I liked how this team did this. That's great. But now he's becoming like a first take artist, and no, sorry.
Listen, man, some of that is just hate clicks, but that's how you get ahead sometimes. You just got to barrel those out. But I mean, I don't know. Those have ceilings. And
hashtag how bold Dan.
How about as bold as him running out of the back of the end zone?
Any publicity is good publicity. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly the way that a lot of sports
that's
media
always
has
been
taken.
That's always been the old strategy. I don't even think it's true anymore. And I'm speaking as someone who works in sports talk radio, where takes are our business at the end of the day. And Dan Orlovsky is what we consider kind of a golden goose, in that I think what everyone on TV wants to have is you want a guy with fiery opinions, but you also want him to be a former player, because people, for whatever reason, they will give more credence to a former player than anyone else, no matter what you're saying. If Skip Bayless says the same thing as Dan Orlovsky gets more credence.
Sure.
Just because he's a former player. People just, but that's always been the problem, is that former players come out and either they're just not great. They're either like, the problem with Dan is that he was a backup quarterback. The golden child, if you can ever get it, is a guy like Peyton Manning, who talks like Stephen A. Smith. But unfortunately, that's never going to happen.
Anyways.
Well, yeah.
I can't believe we just talked about Dan Orlovsky for 2 minutes and Ryan barely said anything.
Doesn't he give him the time of day?
Well, no, he sucks.
All right.
When was the last time Bob Quinn had an interview with the media? That's a good question. Was it?
And
it's been. Was it? It was before. It was way before the draft. I think it was back in 2019.
Well, no, I mean he meets after the draft every day.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Yeah. So that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Typically it's more often like you'll typically get him at the owners' meetings, but I think that all happened virtually, so reporters didn't go down to Florida for that. There was a Senior Bowl, so I think he probably talked to reporters then as well. But yeah, I think the draft. He talks at the draft.
Yeah.
He'll talk at the end of the season if he gets a chance.
What about Sheila Ford? I don't think we've heard Sheila Ford talk yet, but I mean, granted, we didn't hear Martha Firestone Ford talk until after she had fired Mayhew.
Yeah, no. I think we haven't heard from Sheila officially since her introductory presser, and I think some people are disappointed with that. I'm not surprised by it. Sheila did say she might try and be a little more public facing than her predecessors, but I mean, did anyone
There's
really
not much
expect
she's
that
going to be
happen?
able to say other than talking about how she has asked for the resignations of Bob Quinn and anyone else in the front office. There's really nothing she can say in a press conference you want to hear besides that.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, everyone's hanging on the words of Matt Patricia after this game and like, oh, he's saying the same thing. It's just like, okay, well, what magic words did you want to hear to make today okay? Because those words do not exist.
Listen, I know there's some other public, owners out there, be it Arthur Blank on the sidelines or Jerry Jones saying whatever the hell is on his mind or whatever, but it's not the way of this. They're busy with the GP and Tifa meetings.
The NFC North did have a bad day. Good point. Except for the Bears. The Bears won the NFC North today by not playing. Everyone else lost.
That's ideal for the Bears. They should continue to do that. Oh, we got Raiders Chiefs tonight. All right, we might as well try to wrap up this podcast because I want to go watch some of that. That sounds like a good game.
Chiefs -7.5 over 56.5.
Yeah. Ryan, we talked a little bit about doing that gambling podcast. I've just been so busy, but unfortunately, we might do some of it in December, but might just have to hold for it for the off season or next season.
Let's just say last night I had a few beverages and
a few Presidentes.
Yeah, something like that. And I bought trading cards.
Really?
An unopened box of 1997, 1998 hockey cards. So, instead of taking that money and gambling with it, Jeremy, I'm investing in a hobby. Card collecting. Lucrative in 2020.
Oh yeah.
Could have been Beanie Babies.
If I ever start collecting stuffed animals, like
have a bunch back home.
In the
My
feds.
mom
Send in the
collects a
feds.
bunch of those. It is funny because I know never mind. We'll talk about it later. Anyway, we should get to this before Craig craps out again. And apparently before my white balance on this thing turns me into just a glowing creature. I need to get a better camera here. See, turning that off barely did anything. What about turning it?
That light just looks way too bright right now.
Yeah, the one behind me, yeah. Fortunately, it only has one setting. If I turn it off, it will be completely dark without it. So let me go turn it off, actually. Let me see what happens. Like sinking into my couch.
What's up, Sportaneous? Thanks for stopping by again.
Well, actually, that isn't that bad. No, see, look, I'm still like burning bright.
No, yeah, I think the light in front of you is just way too bright.
I don't even have it on. Now I just turned it on.
So what is it, your monitor?
I think it's my monitor, actually, yeah. Yeah, my monitors are just really bright, apparently.
Can we go back to talking about Beanie Babies?
No.
Oh.
Tamagotchis. I'll allow.
Where's the camera settings on this computer?
Yeah, so chat while we wait. We don't quite have our Thanksgiving schedule yet down completely. Mike's going to have his man coverage podcast released between now and Thursday. We might do a mailbag before then, but we're not going to do First Bite. We're not going to do preview podcast because I'll be honest, I don't know how many people are actually interested in the game itself, so we probably won't talk about it too much. And then during the Thanksgiving Day game, we'll do a quick game recap here on our Twitch page. We'll probably make that the podcast so that everyone can go enjoy their family after that, not have to worry about missing this live. And then Sunday night we'll probably do something as well, depending on how everything goes. There might be news that we have to take care of before then, and if that's the case, we might have an emergency podcast before then. But yeah, that's just kind of the general schedule this week so far. Gonna have to play a lot of it by ear, but that's how we plan to figure things out for the next week or so.
Okay, I think I figured it out. I apologize.
Oh, good.
Or apparently I just now. It's definitely my monitor because my face lights up and goes away. So. Let's do this. Wrapping up the Pride of Detroit POD cast with one question. It's no longer if, it's a matter of when. And when is the question. When, in my mind, does Matt Patricia get fired? And if you want to extend it to Bob Quinn as well, be my guest. I don't know if Bob Quinn can survive without Matt Patricia. That's a very interesting question that I feel like is almost beyond our scope a little bit. If you guys want to talk about it, be my guest. But to me, at least, when it comes to Patricia himself, there's no more excuse that can really be levied. This is really bad. Coordinators, players have all failed on every level. And there's no other way around it. And I think I said a few podcasts ago that Thanksgiving would be a prime candidate for after the Thanksgiving game, if he loses it, to get rid of him. I think I've said that several times. I think after Carolina, it's back on the table. I don't think it's going to happen before the Thanksgiving game. If you're listening on this podcast and it did happen, ignore everything I just said. The power of recorded media is that it sticks around sometimes and it sometimes dates itself. But I feel like you're not going to fire him on a short rest. So at the very least for me, Thanksgiving. I still think probably it's either Thanksgiving, and if he doesn't get fired by Thanksgiving, he lasts until the end of the season. In my mind, there's no rush to fire him other than the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have to probably upend the whole thing. But Jeremy.
It's tough because they come out of the bye, they win 2 straight, and then the next 4 games are nothing short of a disaster. You get blown out by the Colts, you get blown out by the Vikings, you win a game in which you blow a 21-point lead against Washington, you get blown out today against the Panthers. This team is not competing right now, and it's not going to get better. There's no question about it. We don't need to rehash everything that Patricia has gone wrong. That has gone wrong under Patricia. We've talked about his failures constantly. But the point is, going forward, the Lions have one of the hardest schedules in the league. Things are going to get bad. Things are going to get really, really bad. Houston Texans might not be a good team, but they just won. They just hung a bunch of points on New England. 27 on New England. Deshaun Watson just hung a 344 yards and 2 touchdowns on New England.
Hey, listen, Alex Smith and PJ Walker are having good days against Detroit. Imagine what Deshaun Watson might do unless you really game plan for him.
Yes. All to say, things are going to get worse. The Lions are going to continue to get blown out on Sundays, probably a Thursday, maybe a Saturday. We still don't know what day one of these games is going to be played on. They still have to face Ryan Tannehill. They still have to face Tom Brady. They still have to face Aaron Rodgers again. And maybe they have to face Mitchell Trubisky, which apparently is a bad thing these days when you're the Detroit Lions. So it's going to get bad. Yeah, I agree with you. It could very, very possibly happen Friday. It could happen after this game. We talk about Black Monday.
If it's a bad result.
It could literally be a Black Friday.
I think if it's a really bad result, if there's no other way around it, it happens.
I mean, you can't get blown out 4 out of 5 games. If it happens again, listen, I'll be the first one to say I don't see much benefit in changing a head coach mid-season. And especially so when it's this late. The season, if they lose on Thursday, the season is unsalvageable. It's already unsalvageable if we're being honest with ourselves. So even if you do, strike up a couple wins at the end. You're not. It's not going to mean anything. It's not going to. And I don't think there's anyone capable on this roster. Yes, I know y'all love Braden Coombs, but I don't think there's anyone on this coaching roster that can make a case for his job, at least to be head coach. Maybe Braden Coombs sticks around. Maybe, I don't know, there's some other coaches that might be good at their jobs. Robert Prince is a guy that's very popular with the wide receivers. But in general, there's nothing to be saved. There's nothing really to be gained about firing Matt Patricia at this point. But at the same time, like, it's going to get really ugly. Fans are going to get really, really mad. They're already very, very mad, and understandably so. And so I think that pressure alone might just be like, you know what? Let's just get this out of the way so that we can just get it out of the way and start thinking about the future.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. It's just it's the problem is a matter of, you just said it as far as Brandon Coombs, like, there's no one really to safeguard it until the end of the day, and there's nothing you can really gain other than placating fans who at this point, like, I don't even know how much firing Patricia before the end of the season will matter versus firing him at the end of the season.
Right.
With fans. Like, they're either checked out, apathetic, or just gone. But the only thing I will say is that this is Thanksgiving is the only game the Lions will be on national television for. I don't know how much that matters. But if this is your only game on national television and everyone's watching you and you get the brakes beat off you, then I don't know. All bets are off at that point for me. Ryan, what do you think?
I was going to say that can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And I think context is important. Like Jeremy mentioned, if you get blown out for 4 out of 5 games, and if this last one is almost kind of just like the cherry on top, it would be Deshaun Watson coming in on Thanksgiving Day. Jeremy mentioned what he did against New England. It's even more impressive when you just consider the fact that he pretty much did all that in the first half. He was 18 of 23, 271 total yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half against New England. What do you think he's going to do when he comes here? And so there, for everybody who is, calling for Patricia and asking, I don't even know if they're rhetorical questions at this point, but like, why hasn't he been fired yet? Like, what's the deal? Why hasn't he been fired? You're not gonna set up somebody else to be in such a such a bad spot, right? Like, you're not gonna put Braden Coombs in that spot for the first ever time he's gonna be a head coach. Hey, you have a game in 4 days on national television. See you then. No, like, Patricia is dead in the water. Patricia will get fired at the end of the season. Patricia cannot, especially with what Jeremy just said. Like, there's no way that the season, it can't get turned around. B, it can't end any better than it's going right now because of their strength of schedule. I mean, they have one of the hardest finishes of any NFL team in terms of win-loss record.
3 divisional rivals, one of the best teams in the NFC right now, and probably one of the top teams in the AFC.
Titans, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the one thing that's changed, and like I said, I've never really been that big of an advocate of a mid-season change, but the one thing that's changed now is I feel like maybe Sheila was riding this out and saying, let me just be 100 absolutely % sure that this can't be turned around. The Lions were at 4-5. There's 7 games left. If Patricia's going to pull, if Patricia's going to pull a rabbit out of his hat, this is the time he's going to do it. Well, he started off that 7-game streak by losing to a 3-7 team. So we're pretty sure at this point the Lions are 4-6. They pretty much have to win out to even have a shot at the playoffs, and we know that's not going to happen. So now you can be absolutely sure that you gave Matt Patricia enough chances. You gave him 1 year. You gave him 2 years. You gave him basically a full 3rd year at this point, and this team is going basically in reverse defensively, even and offensively. So now you're sure. Now you can pull the trigger whenever you want. Maybe to get a head start.
Yeah, like, this game was a really important game at the end of the day. No other way around it, because if you had won here against Carolina, you probably have the strength to take that into Houston, at home on Nashville. You could have made it 3 in a row for the first time in Patricia's entire career to be 3 in a row. And then suddenly the whole script is flipped. You're like, 6-5 at that point.
Sure.
You're with an NFC East that is looking worse and worse by the day.
Heading into a bad Bears team, I mean, if the Lions were to have looked like a lot better team today, win on Thanksgiving, you'd probably give them a chance to beat the Bears and be 7-5.
Yeah, suddenly you're back in that third. Remember, 3 wild cards this year. Suddenly you're back in that conversation for that third wild card, because I'm guessing one of them's probably going to the Bucs. One of them's probably going to, one of the NFC West teams, and then that third one you've got to compete with the rest of your division and probably another team in the NFC West. That's doable. But you've lost that because you've lost this Carolina game. And now looking at Houston, like, you've been exposed so badly that I have to reevaluate the whole Houston thing. And again, I don't even know if a win against Houston even really matters at this point, because you're still treading below 500 going into December. And I mean, the Rams are 6-3. The Cardinals are 6-4. The Bucs are 7-3. Like, there's no real, you're at least 2 games back now from those positions.
It's over.
Yeah. No, you're done. Like, the only ways you can improve really right now is maybe if, like, again, you have to pull rabbits out of your hat, beat all your divisional foes, which, by the way, Patricia still hasn't gotten wins against the NFC North in quite a while. So and you can't tell me that's going to change overnight. And then you're going to tell me they're going to beat the Buccaneers? Really? The Buccaneers. Like, every time I think that team is down, they go and blow the brakes off someone. And the last team they blew the brakes off was the Carolina Panthers. When they had Teddy, by the way, not PJ Walker. So, not to do transitive wins or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, we've got our measuring sticks. So this sucks. I think that's the takeaway from the Lions. Wow, this all sucks.
So it's morbid, but do we want to make predictions at this point of win?
I'm going to call my shot. I'm going to say there's going to be a tie.
A tie? Wait, what?
On Thanksgiving?
No.
Jeremy's talking about
Win. The original question of the segment. When? When does it happen?
Like win. Twitch chat, did you say when or win? When? Again, I hate to do my double answer. If you're making me choose between Thanksgiving and end of the season, I will lean you like 5. I will say 55-45 end of the season. The other 45 Thanksgiving with a big loss to the Texans.
What about you, Ryan?
That naughty old elf must be one mean bastard to bring us Christmas this early. Friday.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
I think
get your Black Friday shopping done early. Spoil Christmas.
I think Friday is a definite possibility, and at this point, I might even start pre-writing just to be safe. But part of me thinks Sheila's just like, let's just ride this out, and it might be the right move. I mean, at some point we're gonna have to start talking about draft position, and if you want, I can end the podcast with an optimistic look there, because that Sunday was actually a very good day for Lions draft position.
Yeah, if you're a draft watcher, and you've been kind of wringing your hands about they're screwing up here because they're not tanking, because they won against the Jaguars and the Falcons, they won against Washington, and it doesn't look like no one's catching the Jets right now. Just Jeremy, just tell them what they've how it's been faring. Right.
Well, two things I want to point out. First, if you're like Team Tank, it kind of doesn't make sense for me to also be fire Patricia now. Like, if he's doing such a bad job, isn't that kind of doing a good job in your mind?
Yeah, and listen, like, I know tank and trust the process is a hot thing, but you have to understand this about the NFL draft. Unless you're going for a quarterback, you can be in the top 18 of the draft and still get a good player. Like, I fight against this idea that, like, I get it, top 10, really good, but there's enough positions that need to be filled on an NFL team in any given year that unless you are gunning for a very specific position that is at the top of the class coming out, like a stud, can't miss prospect, it's not going to really matter that much. Like that you're not keeping up with the Jets in Jacksonville.
And Roaring Fork also brings up a good point. College football has been so weird this year.
Yeah,
Draft evaluation is going to be kind of tough. It's not going to be a normal year in terms of draft evaluation, so we'll see. But to get around to the good news of the day, look at the draft order. Look at the teams that won today. Dallas won today. They're now at 3-7, only a game. I mean, if we're being honest right now, I'm looking at Tankathon. The Lions are 11th in draft order right now.
Yeah.
Dallas is in 4th at 3-7. They're a game ahead of the Lions, all the way at number 4. So there could be a lot of movement. Who else won today? The Chargers won today. Washington won today. New England lost, right? No.
Yes, New England
lost to Houston.
Did you already say
Denver.
Dallas?
So Houston's up there. Their pick is owed to Miami, but
Denver.
Houston's 3-7.
Denver's a team that won today that the Lions jumped. Denver's now all the way in 15th. Minnesota lost, but you have to imagine they're probably going to win a game or two. They still have the Lions on their schedule, so they'll probably win at least one more game there. I mean, the Lions could move, and I'll show you guys watching at home. Like, there's a lot of place for them. Look, 3-7. Dallas is 4th in draft order at 3-7. The Lions are literally a game behind them at 4-6. And also remember, their strength of schedule kind of tough. And so the way tiebreakers work is easier schedule goes higher. So the fact that they beat Washington, that head-to-head, that's not what the tiebreaker is. The tiebreaker is about strength of schedule, so that won't hurt them in terms of a tiebreaker. Just to throw that out there. Lions looking good.
Carolina's just in front of them, but that's by virtue of that. The Carolinas played one more game than the Lions,
right,
and they're at 4-7.
Right.
I think Carolina, look, that is a team that's on the mend, is going to be good. They're going to win a couple more games this year once they get Teddy Bridgewater back. Like, that is a good. I don't know. I don't want to gawk too much the team that just put us on the floor, but Matt Rule has those Panthers playing really well. They're going to be a force next year if they can get the right draft picks to fill up some of those holes they have.
If I'm being completely honest, I think there's only 3 teams that are uncatchable for the Lions right now. The Jets, obviously. The Panthers are 1-9, and the Bengals are 2-7-1, and now are going to be without Joe Burrow for the rest of the season. So those 3 teams, I think they're the only uncatchables. I think they could catch Dallas, Washington, Chargers, Giants, Texans, Falcons, Panthers. Those are the other teams ahead of them. I kind of scoffed at Hamza last week when he said that was the last win the Lions are going to have on the schedule. Lions might not win.
You might be right.
They might not win another game.
You might be right. Like, the Thanksgiving is their most winnable game left.
No question.
Maybe against the Bears, but again, I don't know how many times I got to tap. Don't make me tap the sign, and that sign is Matt Patricia's record against the NFC North.
Wonder what the Texans are going to open at as favorites.
I do this with my friends where we do that Colin Cowherd guess the line, guess the spread. I haven't done it yet here. I'm going to guess because they're on the road and they're coming off a win.
I'm gonna say it's 3.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3, maybe 3. I was gonna be that's about right. I might anywhere between 3.5 and 2.5 road favorite.
I just pulled up a CBS article, although that was 2 days ago. It was even. Yeah, right now the early line is Lions -2, according to
those get
DraftKings
up
Nation.
pretty. Those lines are usually up the week before.
Oh,
usually if it's a place like MGM, they will put up a line. They'll put up a new adjusted line like Monday morning. So I think that's when we'll get the real opening line for this game.
All right, well, yeah, there you go. Any parting words? I tried to end on something optimistic.
Vegas Insider consensus, and actually William Hill right now does have Houston -2. So that might be live.
And any insight from your good friend Ryan, since we're not going to have a first bite onto that?
Prediction?
If you have any equity in your home, pull it out.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Put it on Deshaun Watson
What's the over under on his yards for the game, you think?
Oh boy. 295.
Whoa. For a total over under. Or is that where you think he's going to land?
I mean, I could legitimately seeing it be like 280.
Wow. And with
Why not?
that, yeah.
Why not?
With
Because
that,
the Lions won't score any points, and the Texans will just run the ball the entire second half.
This is true.
Oh crap! I said high note. Whoops. Hello, top 5 pick.
So, yeah, throw your money on Duke Johnson then. All right.
Gosh. All right.
Let's get out of here. For myself, for Jeremy, for Ryan, and not for the Detroit Lions, I hope this has been catharsis a little bit. Thank you for putting up with our idiocy, our inability to make the recorder work, and everything else. And as always, we'll see you Starside. Okay, we went a little long there, but that's fine. Craig didn't crash again, so that's good.
Get out of here, Craig. You failed today.
Jesus, I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of work to stitch things together tonight that I really didn't want to do because I want to work on a column.
Chat, I don't think we're going to hang around tonight. The Sunday night game has already started. The Chiefs are already losing 7-0.
What?
Yeah. True stories.
Yeah, that's good for my over.
There you go. But thanks for stopping by. Like I said again, the schedule's going to be messed up. A couple people were asking about the Madden Sim. I'll try to maybe do it Wednesday night if you want.
Don't
Yeah.
make any promises.
I'm not going to make any promises, but yeah, appreciate you all stopping by. Y'all had amazing support. We were over 100, I think, viewers between Twitch and YouTube the entire night, which is crazy considering how bad this team is. The fact that you guys still want to hang around us and talk about them for a little bit, appreciate that. But if we don't see you before Thanksgiving, or at least until after the Thanksgiving game, everybody be safe out there this week.
Be safe. Don't travel if you don't need to. Like I know it sucks. I miss the hell out of my family right now, but just don't do it.
Yeah, just be smart. Call your family.
Watch the Lions alone.
Watch them. But maybe have some sort of support system at least virtually with you, if you can.
Look, man, like if you, I'll be around if you want to come out and hang with us on Discord.
Yeah,
I will have up Discord. We'll be watching the game virtually. I work that night, so I will absolutely be here. Probably slicing up some just deli turkey just to have a sandwich and some cranberry sauce or something.
Yeah, and if oops, that's the wrong.
What'd you do?
I'm trying to link the Discord in our YouTube chat, and it copied and pasted the wrong thing. There we go. So YouTube, if your YouTubers aren't familiar with our Discord, we do have a Discord where a lot of us like to hang out, chat. It's like a chat room. It looks like this. There's a whole bunch of like chatting. We have a bunch of different channels. We also have audio channels, which is what we're using right now. But we have open for fans that we usually have during games. I think Chris is usually in there talking with fans during the Lions game. We also do it during
Lions Hangout. We do it Thursday nights as well, and some other games. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we do sometimes Thursday night, Monday night games to hang out in there. It's just, I mean, in this virtual setting where a lot of us aren't going to be able to be with loved ones, it's something. It's something. So just want to offer that to you guys. And again, we got about a week left on our Movember campaign. ! Donate if you're in our Twitch chat. If you want to donate to that, you can do it while we're offline. You can do it while we're online. Please donate if you can. We're looking to raise enough money to have us do some goofy things. And I think that's all I got for you guys tonight. Anything else from you guys? That sounds like a no. All right, guys.
Everything is bad, as you say.
Everything is bad. Nothing is good. But you know what? We're going to be through it. We're going to get through it all together. So again, appreciate you all joining us. That's
what was that song from the Lego movie? Everything is awesome.
Yes.
Everything is horrible.
Beautiful.
Everything sucks ass. Da, da, da. I've never heard the song, to be honest. I just heard it.
I couldn't tell. You nailed it.
Is it like everything is awesome?
No, you essentially got it.
Okay, I literally don't know. I've
Yeah.
never seen the movie.
Awful probably would have been, as chat says, would have worked better instead of terrible.
Everything is awful.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. Enough musical notes from us, guys. We'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy Sunday Night Football. We'll see you Thanksgiving or before.